Good day, good afternoon, everyone. This is Captain Gaurav Rana. I run Sea and Beyond, and welcome all of you on this masterclass on data analytics and maritime operations. We've got with us presenters. We've got Captain Parhar, Gaurav Kullu, Yogesh, Jayashri, Sudarshan, who are going to talk about um, uh, the Excel course as such. We're going to talk about how and where they are using Excel and Power BI in their day-to-day lives, and why this is probably more important, and how the maritime industry is using these kind of tools essentially. And I hope it's a fruitful session to all of us as well. Now, why are we doing this course, and what is the purpose from Sea and Beyond's perspective, right? Um, Sea and Beyond, as many of you may know, we are into placements as well, right? And we get a lot of requirements from the company, and the company asks us that we need professionals who are able to um, increase the efficiency, who understand the maritime know-how, and who can play a little bit with the data, right? For example, if they give them a lot of data, they shouldn't be lost, and they should be able to make meaningful insights from that. But to the companies, it is becoming increasingly difficult to find such people like Yogesh, who has sailed on the vessel, who know technology, and there is a lot of demand for such kind of people in these companies. From the point of view of the candidate, also we get a lot of requirements wherein they are confused on what can they do to upskill themselves, in which area do they upskill, how do they take the baby steps in upskilling, and where all can they get a job. Many a times what happens is people just directly take an AI course, or something which is very fancy, because their friend of a friend of a friend would have done it, and sometimes they are a little bit unable to cope up with the course. So our suggestion sometimes is that, why don't you take baby steps? See if you can, if you're liking to play with the data, something which will help you in your professional life on board a vessel, or maybe whatever you're doing ashore, and will help you to make you more efficient. So that's the reason why we're saying Excel has been around for long. No company can work without it. BI is extensively being used. Why don't you do, understand more about it? And that's where Sea and Beyond comes in, right? Because we know the market, because we know the candidates, we advise a certain course which you could do and which could be beneficial for you, right? What is data analytics? I mean, what are the key points on data analytics? It's a honestly, to me, it's a fairly abused term, right? Anything and everything nowadays people call as data analytics, but essentially, and at a very core basic level, if you are able to convert raw data into actionable insights. And it's not a direct process. You'll have to, of course, make the data a lot more sanitized. You'll have to use various tools, and depending on the size of the data or the complexity of the data, various other tools to get to the actionable insights. So that to me is data analytics. Why is it required? A lot of data coming through. In many industries, there is already a lot of data. In shipping, the data is there, but it was limited in nature. Now, the amount of data is increasing. So, you would need data analytics to essentially make meaningful decisions. It will help you to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and increase safety, of course. But once you use data or data analytics tools, it makes your life a lot more easier, and the decisions which you make will be based on some data rather than a gut feel, which you might have, just knowing the just seeing the industry or just knowing your work. So how do you use data analytics? They can be used in various tools. Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Python are the commonly used tools. And you take one thing at a time. Excel, we believe, is being used everywhere. Power BI is the second tool, but a few companies do use Tableau or Python as well. Right. Now coming to the maritime aspect of things, right? The amount of data which is being generated from a vessel is has increased, and it has increased in a fairly fast manner. In newer ships, you have more than 4,000 data points which keep on updating constantly, right? I mean, more than 4,000 data points, 60,000 ships in the world. You just multiply and you will see the data points which you have, and it's mind-boggling figure, right? Where do you get the data points from? You get the data points from, and this is just the navigation part of things, which apparently we feel is less. On the machinery part of things, make it 10x probably. And this is to just name a few: your AIS, ARPA, your rudder angle sensors, your speed you get, time you get, rate of turn you get. I'm sure all of you would know about, whatever parameters you use to make a decision. All those parameters are now being captured and being relayed on shore, or maybe, of course, used on the vessel to make decisions. So the amount of data is increasing. What is happening in with the data? What has happened is, and with Industry 4.0 coming in, there are opportunities which are coming, right? And Industry 4.0, if you, I don't know how many of you know about it, but with industrial revolution coming through, Industry 4.0 is where the technology is being used to take the industrial efficiency or industrial production further, and wherein they have identified these 9 pillars essentially, which are cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, big data analytics, 3D printing, simulation, virtual and augmented reality, cloud computing, cyber security. The shipping industry is increasingly comfortable with digital solutions such as performance monitoring, artificial intelligence, remote surveying, and automation. So, within the shipping part of things, within the shipping cohort of things, the digital technologies which are mostly being used, right, are IoT, analytics, AI is a more generic term, blockchain. Blockchain is probably used more on the documentation side, more on the commercial side of things. On the operation side of things, the technology which are more being used is IoT, analytics, and AI. And that's where the shipping digitalization comes into the being, wherein partnerships are happening. So if you see a lot of ship ownership company, management companies are partnering with the likes of Zero North, the likes of Alpha Ori. Of course, they've merged, but GeoServe to to provide more insights and better data analysis, and the solutions which these companies on the right hand side are providing are on predictive maintenance, shipping personal assistant, logistics, and trade smart contracts where blockchain is being used. And we'll talk about all these digital solutions in our slides later on, which Yogesh and others will also point out on those as well. Now, you might have those skills, but how and where can you use these skills, right? And what is it going to do for you? Sometimes we as laymen, we might feel that these are just jargons and we may not be able to use them, but increasingly we have seen that a lot of positions are specifically coming in the maritime industry wherein these skills are used, right? Now, these positions are business analyst, voyage analyst, data scientist, vessel performance manager, digitization managers, product developers, and these are while you work in a company. But even if you're not working, you can start on your own. You can become an entrepreneur, and you can absolutely use these skills over there. There's so many companies which I know which have come up, wherein they are providing digitalization services to the maritime industry and such.